oh my God, I've been rejected, what feels like rejection, but that may actually be a very deep lesson from the Master. I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep, I just want to keep feeling this divine connection. I was not the victim I identified as. If it's a real Master, their goal is not to make you now just dependent on them instead of being dependent upon someone else. The point of a spiritual master is not to heal our childhood wounds. The point of a spiritual master is not to reparent us. The point of a spiritual master is not to take the place of our husband, wife, mother, father, child, whoever we are longing for the love of that we didn't get. Now, they may end up doing some of those things. I know that the wounds that I carried from my childhood were healed through the presence and the teachings of my guru. But not because he came in with this agenda of I'm going to heal her wounds by, make her feel better. But actually through a very tough teaching, what we would call tough love. Because what he was trying to do was make me understand I was not the victim I identified as. I was not the one who suffered in the way that I thought I was suffering, that I was not my story. Now, your longing to be recognized, to be seen, to have this almost magical one-to-one, even in the midst of a crowd relationship with the Master, is a beautiful yearning. And when you have that, I know it feels like there is nothing better in the entire universe. It's like, I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep, I just want to keep feeling this divine connection. And yet, the Master's role and the Master's goal is not about getting you addicted to that energetic feedback from the Master. If it's a real Master, their goal is not to make you now just dependent on them instead of being dependent upon someone else. Their goal is to set you free. Now, you may physically live with the Master for 50, 60, 80, 100 years. But regardless of how long you are in the physical presence, the Master's goal is to set you free internally so that you don't need that. I cannot tell you the number of times in the first couple of years that I literally burst into tears sitting with Puja Swamiji because suddenly in that moment, he said something, and it would be minor, it would be tiny. I would bring in a piece of work and he would say something like, maybe instead of saying it like this, you could say it like that. And to me, it was this, oh my God, I've been rejected. Oh my God, anything other than you are perfect and wonderful felt to me like this horrible rejection. My eyes would fill with tears. He then would look at me and say, leave this room until you can stop making faces. Don't make that face, he would say. And I would start to cry, and I'm not making faces, I'm crying, you hurt me. Say, leave, now. Out. Out. Make me stand up and walk out. Now, you could look at that and say, my God, that's not compassion. Like, here you are crying in front of him and he's telling you, get out. It was the most compassionate thing in the world he could have done for me, because I was so identified as my drama and my story that, and the moment, by the way, that I finally became okay, it took me hours many times, but became okay, washed my face and came back. He was all there, present and wonderful again. It was, I'm not going to sit here and be party to you in the midst of your drama. You want to do that drama? Do it somewhere else. I don't have time. And to, even while I am here in the physical presence, but set me free from that need of the constant, like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, I'm here with you, you're wonderful, you're good enough, I promise. Promise you're good, promise you're wonderful. That's the way that the master works. And I'm wondering whether you haven't taken this, what feels like rejection, but that may actually be a very deep lesson from the master. Of, we're connected. Just because I don't call on you when you raise your hand doesn't mean we're not connected. Just because I was present with someone else and didn't even notice your hand being raised doesn't mean we're not connected. It's like if a mother has children and one child is running a fever and on the edge of death, and the other child, comes home with an A on the report card and the mother doesn't pay any attention. Well, it's not that she no longer loves that child or that she's rejecting that child. It's just that in that moment, this one dying of fever needs a lot more attention. And maybe in those days, there were other members of your Sangha, of your community, who needed that attention of the master more than you did. Maybe the message that he's teaching you is, you are much stronger than you think. So go back, ask him. Don't go in, accusing you're rejecting me. But go in and just humbly ask, what is your teaching here? What am I meant to learn? If he's someone who your heart really feels is the right teacher for you, then trust yourself. Even though the ego is having a really hard time right now, trust that heart. And go back and ask him, what is my teaching here? What am I supposed to be learning? And then see. It may turn out that your days of learning from that master are over. But it may turn out that you're in store for a very, very deep teaching. And I wouldn't deprive myself of that possibility quite so quickly.